Hello, everyone. This is Chris Hampton Champ. This is Chris Hampton Champ. And we are on the Victorious Business Professional Spotlight. And I am honored today for our guest that we are having. She is our director, but she's not in the director sheet, even though she's on the other side, on the main side. We're going to be interviewing Clara Lyons-DeVaughn for Lyonsview Realty, and we're going to have a great conversation. So buckle up, get a chance to know who you're working with. And again, we're going to have a great conversation. That's what this is all about learning how people do what they do in the kingdom. Just to give you an idea what the kingdom of Victorious Business Professionals is about is we are kingdom business people. We are kingdom business professionals that are here to grow together, network and together and build our businesses up while we are building the kingdom of God up. And this is one of the greatest places that you can be is amongst like-minded people that are about purpose. So the core concept or the pillars that we build the Victorious Business Professionals on is the Kneel principle. And it talks about the Kneel as Kneel. So that first pillar, which is the main pillar and the reason why we do what we do for the kingdom, is the word kingdom. And it's talking about that God has placed us here to be able to represent, to be ambassadors of his kingdom, that people would see us and want to be able to see him through the works that we do in the earth. The other principle is networking. And networking is not about you getting the sale right now. Networking is all about building relationships. And it's the reason why the next doors are opening for you is because you are building tight networks. And tight networks means tight relationships. So that's the second pillar of what we base the kingdom business professionals, the Victorious Business Professionals off of. The next letter is the letter E, which is education. We want to give you the right knowledge and understanding and give you the wise application of how to run your business in excellence and integrity. The other E is exposure. Oh, I love this word because exposure is by choice, and we want to motivate you to be able to see this as an exposure moment, not only to give your business exposure, but to also expose you to other businesses that may be able to complement and open the door for you. And then our last one is leadership. Yes, you are leaders, and Bishop John has taught us that we are all leaders. Leaders is not about position; it's about purpose and influence. So these are the core principles that we have built Victorious Business Professionals. A lot of times you're going to hear me say kingdom professionals. I'm just getting it out right now because to be in the kingdom is victorious. So they're synonymous. When you see kingdom, you see victorious. So you see victorious, you see kingdom. So let's just get that out the way. I didn't stutter or utter. That was the real truth that we base it off of. So without further ado, I want to take more time. Let's get a chance to know who our not director. She is not director. I have liberated her from being director today. We want to see the business of what Clara Lyons-DeVaughn is about. So, Sister Clara, just give us an idea of who you are. Where are you from originally?
Oh, wow. I am originally from California, for Oakland, California. My family actually is still there in the Sacramento area. Yeah. And my
And would you
kids.
like to? What made you move from? Now I went to California now about 4 months ago, and I loved it. That was just a wonderful experience for me. What made you leave California and come to New Jersey? Now I ain't slacking Jersey, but coming to New Jersey is really different.
Oh, yes. Love my husband. I met him actually in Philadelphia. I came out here for a conference and saw him, and I said, God, send me a man like that. And he did. So he came back to California for a meeting, and I ended up taking him to the airport. And after that, we started dating, and the rest was history. We got married, wow, like a year later. And
Oh
he came to
wow!
California. Yeah. He came to California, lived there, and then we came back out to New Jersey, to Philadelphia area. Yeah.
All right. So, are you bi-coastal now? So, like, are you in both places, or is your heart here, or your heart really in California? It's okay.
I am a California girl living in New Jersey. I'll just
Yeah,
put
I
it
can
like
see that. Yeah, I said, yeah, people out there remind me of you too.
that. Yeah.
Well, what's the name of your the name of your company is Lyonsview. What was the inspiration for naming that company Lyonsview instead of Lions Realty?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, it's Lyonsview Realty. Lyons for my last name as an homage to my dad, actually, because it was my dad who got me started in entrepreneurship. He's been an entrepreneur, or he was an entrepreneur his entire life. He was also a minister, but he had Clara Records, which is a recording studio. He made records back in the day. Um, he also had a fish market. You buy it, we fry it, which was the first of its kind at that time. So I got my entrepreneurial spirit from my dad, and that's my maiden name. So I wanted to pick up that portion. And the view is about people talking about, it's really about vision. It's about seeing the possibility for your life, seeing the possibility of creating things moving forward. So real estate is one of the number one wealth ways to build wealth in in the world, actually.
Mm,
But you have to have the vision to be able to know that you can do that, to have that possibility in your life. So Lions View is about people realizing their possibilities in life, and having a Lions View lifestyle,
I like
which is
that.
a life of possibility. Yeah.
That should be a tagline: a life of possibilities. That's great. And you let's talk about a little bit about more what you do. So normally I would say someone in real estate is a realtor, but you are explain what you do, and you say your position is not. You're more than just a realtor, and I'm not downplaying realtors, but you are a broker owner.
Owner,
So
owner.
as a broker owner, that's a total different position than just someone who is a realtor, right?
Correct. So
Could you break that down for us?
I own my own company. Yes. So Lyonsview Realty is my company. I am the owner of the company. I'm also the broker of record. We provide residential, commercial for small businesses and nonprofits and property management services. And we have several arms. So there's the real estate arm, there's the investment arm, there's the education arm, which is Lyonsview Academy. And Lyonsview Academy does real estate pre-licensing, but we don't just do real estate. So it's life, health, and wellness
Mm.
education in under Lyonsview Academy. So yeah, yeah. And so the
I
Lions,
like that. That's different. That's really different because you're not just teaching you how to get a home. Once you get a home, you got to live long enough to keep the home and enjoy the home. So it's like a whole life type picture, right?
exactly, exactly. And that's how Financial Fridays was born. So every Friday, I have Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays, where we talk to people about how to build wealth, how to increase their wealth, how to keep, how to build assets, and not just assets that are like real assets, like real estate, but, financial assets, health assets, wealth assets, just all aspects of your life. Yeah.
I feel like we're working backwards. We're working from the end to the beginning. So let's go back to the beginning here, okay? How, what was it that because we're just talking about really what it evolved to, because you're now evolving from realty to education, advocacy, to being able to become an investor, to understanding the market and all those different things as well. But you didn't start off that way. So and then I'm also going way back from what you just said about your father. Your father told you the entrepreneur thing. So let's connect that all together. What made you interested in realty
Mhm.
as your avenue of being an entrepreneur and business professional?
Yeah. So my dad, another entrepreneurial arm that he had was he owned property. He owned buildings, and as a minister, sometimes people get into hardship situations, and he would actually give people places to stay. You know, and it was either affordable housing or free at times. And so that really impressed upon me. One, you always need a place to stay, and two, just the ability to provide affordable housing for people. the other side of it was I just love houses. I would go. I like the architecture of houses. I feel like houses have a soul. It's the place. If walls could talk, and tell all of the things that happen between the walls. There's a whole life that goes on in the place that you live. So it's probably one of the most important spaces that we're in after we come out of the womb.
Hmm.
It really shapes who we are, and so that was an area that I really have always been excited about.
Did
Yeah.
you have a moment like a aha? Like I always talk about my aha moment when I knew that I was supposed to be a speaker. So I always talk about that aha moment. What was that aha moment when you knew that was the direction that you wanted to pursue?
That real estate was a direction I wanted to pursue. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Um, I don't know if it was just one moment because I started it while I still was in my other job, and I was a financial analyst, and I was doing real estate part time actually. And maybe my aha moment was the time that I matched my salary at my day job.
That's
that
aha.
was
Yeah,
that
that's
was
aha.
yeah, that was an aha moment. I was like, oh, I could really do this. Yeah, yeah.
And that's encouraging to because I was going to ask you what was your prior work before you came in, or did you have a prior work that you were doing before you came in here? But that's inspirational to the people that are listening that um, you can build two houses at the same time,
Thank you.
and you don't have to just quit your job. And I'm not one of them people that say quit your job. I have many jobs that I work at, and I'm not going to tell you to quit your job unless God tell you to quit your job. But
Right.
you were able to quit that job and then basically go from here to here, and then let your purpose take you up a little bit higher. I just think that that's a great example for those of you who are we call pre-entrepreneurs or pre-business professionals looking for change. Sometimes God may show you the change, but it might not be for you to change it immediately. It might be one of those walkover moments where He'll elevate you to be able to get to where you need to go. So you will just walk right into your next thing. So he gives you that thing before you get there. So I appreciate that too. I want to say hello to the audience out there. I see you out there, Tanya. I see you out there, Salama. If you're watching us right now and you're in the chat and you have questions, you can put questions in the chat. We statements in the chat. We're here for you as well. Um, let's talk about the challenge of starting your own business. What was the most challenging part of you starting this business?
Mm. I think probably the most challenging part is growth,
Hmm.
which is a weird place to be because when you're an agent working for another broker,
Mhm.
uh, in real estate you're always self-employed. So what you generate is your income.
So let's
Uh,
hold on one second. Self-employed means straight commission, no salary, no benefits. It's all coming from you. Go ahead.
Correct. Correct. So as the broker owner now, I'm not only responsible for just the income, but the overhead and setting
Mhm.
up the systems and setting up um, the structure, so to speak, of the business for the agents who work with me. So that was probably the most challenging thing. Excuse me.
Bless you.
And for a while, I thought it was just going to be me. I hadn't planned initially on bringing on agents. Um, but God blessed me. God blessed me. I was at a conference and speaking to a gentleman. He says, "I want you to meet this other gentleman." And I spoke to him, and he was looking for a broker of record for um, the New Jersey office for the entire state. So I actually walked into everything that I needed. Um, the structure was set up. All the systems were in place. I was responsible for about 14 to 26 agents across the state. And so it was a great training ground for stepping out into my boutique office. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I was
But
blessed.
you evolved to the boutique from that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And it was initially my intention to go straight from, being an agent into my own brokerage. But that transition period just popped up. It was such a great opportunity. Yeah.
Well, I want to dive back into that growth aspect of what you're talking about as growth being a challenge. And you were talking about how, you're growing and all of a sudden you realize that your vision is so big that you've grown into, but now you can't stay little you. You have to expand. Give us some advice or some tips on how you faced dealing with those challenges, how you overcame those challenges.
One, you have to be willing to ask for help. There are things that you aren't going to know, that you're just not going to know. And so I reached out and formed an alliance with other brokers who also own their own businesses, and we formed our own little network where we would exchange ideas, exchange information, which was invaluable for me because if there was something that I really didn't know how to maneuver, I could say, okay, how do you deal with this? Or what do you do in this particular situation? So having a network of people is so important, and people who are doing what you're doing.
Mm.
That's important. You can't ask another agent, but you have to ask someone who's in the same industry, who's doing the same types of things that you're doing. Yeah.
I think that's very important. I think that when you walk into that elevated place of the next level, and I'm learning that now is like that next level is weird because you're getting into a level that you earned the right to be in the room, but at the same time you're like, wow, there's so much more that I don't know, and I have to either be willing to accept the challenge and like you said, ask for help and be able to get those people that are around me that know more. It's not you at that time you need more people around you. You just need the right people around you. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. I thank you for that. Um, what's the rewards of being in the position that you're in right now? What do you find rewarding about it, above money, above the money. We're like, oh yeah, she must be balling because she owns it. But we understand you own it. But above money, what's rewarding about what you do?
The most rewarding thing about what I do is being able to help people. Um, all the day, I get so many phone calls of people who want information or advice, and it doesn't result in business, right? It doesn't result in, as you say, coins in my pocket, but just being able to use the knowledge that I've accumulated over time to be able to help people. That's the number one. That's the number one reward. The number two reward is for people to see that there are people who look like me who do what I do. You
Mm,
know, because a lot of times there's this mindset of you have to go work for someone else. You have to do it a particular way. And so I think seeing different models is very important for people to see folks you know, who look like me and say, oh, okay, so I can do what I'm doing, or I can do something as well. I think that's very rewarding as well. And just like I reach out to people who are doing what I do. People reach out to me who want to do what I do.
mm.
So it's just great being able to reach a hand out and be able to help other people. So that for me, that's the most rewarding thing. Just helping
Let me
people
ask you
on
this
the
question. You
business
said
side,
huh?
helping people on the business side, and helping people on the housing side. Both of those things are very rewarding for me.
It's dual. You have to do it to stay afloat. Listen, you're growing so much. Are you looking for new people to join the realty group with you?
Almost definitely, yes.
All right, so let's talk. Before I talk about your ideal client, let's talk about the service area of what it takes to be to get where you are. Because I like how you said that you end up being that light that shows other people that what you do is possible. So now, if someone's in their mindset, someone's watching this right now and says, "I would like to get into real estate. I always heard real estate was good." What is it that you have to do to be successful at what you do?
Wow. One, you have to develop a network. It's a relationship business. People do business with you because of the relationship that they have with you. I think one of the reasons why people go to larger companies is because, they give them some business, but still at the end of the day, you have to have a relationship with the person that you're working with to get them from beginning to end. That's very, very important. So you have to have a certain level of confidence in yourself and confidence in your ability to help someone get from the beginning to the end, because it's not just about buying the house.
Right.
It's not just about buying the house. It's counseling, it's listening, it's encouragement, it's really getting someone from point A to B, like the little train that could. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And also giving them all of the tools that they need along the way for successful transaction. So not only relationships with people, but relationships with various vendors, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who do business related to the business that you're doing. So establishing those relationships is important too to be successful in this business. And then the third thing I would say to be successful, probably not initially, but at some point you have to decide what your niche market is. You can't do everything. There's so many areas of real estate. There's so many different types of clients. And I think you'll be unhappy unless you determine the type of client that you want to work with and go after that client. So it's kind of like medicine. You can
Right.
be a general practitioner or you can be a specialist. And specialists make more money. So
Right.
if you're about coins, be a specialist and target your area, target the type of people or the area that you want to work in. And you'll be much more fulfilled because it's about what you're passionate about. Because you go periods of time where you're not going to have income, or you work hours and hours and hours and you don't get your paycheck for months.
Right.
So you have to be willing to really enjoy what you do, and be consistent in your efforts.
So you gotta be friendly. you gotta be knowledgeable. You gotta be willing to learn. You gotta be consistent. You gotta show up. Awesome, awesome. So talk to me about how important your clients are to you.
Wow, my clients are like my family. Uh, I don't know if I'm getting older. I guess I am getting older. I have not acknowledged the fact that I,
Nah, you're
I
getting
am
younger
a
every day.
I have not acknowledged the fact that I'm a senior citizen. Oh my God. I don't feel like a senior citizen. So my clients call me mom. I really have relationship. My clients are like family. I would not, um, I don't recommend things to my clients that I wouldn't recommend to myself. I remember I had a client who they had several properties that they wanted to sell. And I'm not a salesperson. Let me just say that I am so not a salesperson. Um, and a salesperson would have listed their properties and sold them. And I sat down with them and I'm like, this is not what you want to do. After they were telling me about themselves and what their plans were, I'm like, this is not what you want to do. Real estate is such a valuable asset. It's like a bank. It pays over and over and over again. And this is part not only of your legacy for your children, but it's also a way that as you go into retirement, that it can pay for, it can feed into, even now it can feed into income that you can do it. And I can show you how to do that, and how to set that up. And I can sell your property, but I don't think you should. And I think the everyday salesperson would not have had that conversation. So I'm really looking at a person's total picture. Sometimes people will sell the house, and I always say, well, where are you going once the house sells? I
Mhm.
want to make sure that people are okay. And
And I
again,
think
if
that's
someone
so
comes to
important.
sell the house,
Yeah.
pass the keys, and they don't care what happens next after that sale or that transaction. So I'm always looking at the entire perspective
Mhm.
of the thing. And I think that's what my clients like about me. I think that's why my clients come back. I think that's why my clients refer business to me. I don't advertise. I'm very quiet actually about my business, but my phone always rings. God takes care of me, and people refer other people to me because they know that I will do right by them. I had someone give me their bank account information. I'm like, no, no, I don't need all of that. And they're like, Clara, we trust you. But I was like, yes, but I don't need all that. But that means a lot to me, that
Yes.
someone trusts me to that level with something that's so important in your life. So yeah.
And I think salespeople have gotten a bad rap. My whole entire background has been sales for like over 20 years now. Like I said, woo. 20 years sales. But I think one of the things that you brought out is it's called, I call it sales advocacy. And that we are advocates for our customers. We
Yeah.
represent our customers. We speak for our customers when they don't know how to put the words in it themselves. And at the same time, you have that educational factor to it, where it's like we're going to educate you enough to make a decision. So it doesn't seem like pressure from me. I just give you the truth, give you the information, and then you're not going to say, "Hey, Chris, what product you want?" You'll be able to make that decision yourself. And it sounds exactly what your role model of being that sales advocate approach is what keeps your phone ringing. And I hope your people that are wanting to be professionals or wanting to be entrepreneurs can hear that principle through what you are saying. And the other thing is, I guess you have to have a client that's willing to listen to you and be able to be that trusted advisor that they have to be willing to listen to you. Good.
Yeah, that's true as well. And at the end of the day, it's the client's decision, right? At the end of the day, it is their decision. And, like you said, it's my role to one, advocate for them, and two, provide them with information to make an educated decision.
What do you? Let's talk about being the boss of where you're at right now, because you are your own boss. She's the boss lady. It's a good thing to be able to be a boss, but it's also that people don't talk about the burden of being a boss. What would you give as words of wisdom to people that are ready to step out and be boss mode?
Have savings. Hmm. Yeah, have savings. The buck stops with you. All the overhead is yours. Whether other people do something or not, all of the responsibility and accountability is yours. So you definitely need to have money saved. You need to know how much it costs to run your business. You need to know how much it costs to run your life.
Mhm.
So you can get through those periods that might be lulls. There are periods where you make a whole lot of money, and that you have to be able to budget and make that last over a period of time and put money away.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that would be the most important thing. Before you step out, have a safety net. Don't step out into the cliffs. If you have a spouse, it makes it easier because there's someone else there who might have a more steady income. But if you don't, and even if you do, have money set aside. Yeah.
Mhm. And again, it's about being educated, thinking about what you're going to do. So even because you're in a place where you get a straight commission, let's talk about that. The straight commission life is not for the faint of heart. I'm considered faint of heart because I don't work. That's the reason why I'm by entrepreneur right now, because he's slowly weaning me off of my salary. But if I had to do straight commission, I'd have some issues. So knowing that straight commission is for a certain breed, it is for a certain breed of people.
Mhm.
So what are, let's say, I in boss mode, we think that we have freedom. So I'm
We
trying to
do.
word this right. We do. But we also think that, we have to deal with time management because we still give up a lot of our freedom to build. So how do
Mhm.
you manage with your time?
How do I deal with time management? I'm
And when I
pretty.
mean time management, I'm talking about the business, the balance of being business, being spiritual, being in the church, and then there's also this person that's called Clara at the source. And a lot of times we find ourselves doing so much outside, but we forget about one or the other pieces of that triune thing. So you got your purpose, you got your spiritual purpose, and then you got Clara. And 9 times out of 10, most of us forget about Clara. So how do you do that without losing Clara?
Yeah, that was something I had to work on because there were times where I was taking phone calls, business phone calls at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I had to stop that. I had to set business hours and be okay with not, picking up the phone because I do develop such relationship with people, not picking up the phone at certain times. So, I'm saying, okay, you can reach me between this time and this time. That's cool, right? So that was number one. Number two is because I work, or my work week is like 7 days. There's I had to create an off day for myself, and it was hard to do it on a particular day of the week. So I said, one day out of the month, I am not going to do work at all. And I chose my birthday, which is the 11th. So on the 11th of the month, I do not work. I turn my phone off.
That's why you don't pick up the phone when I call now.
I take that time to do whatever I want to do that day. But I don't do I get off grid. I call it being off grid. And that's the time, just for me to rejuvenate myself, um, you know, and do what I want to do.
So how do you rejuvenate yourself? What are some of the ways that you like to rejuvenate, if that's not too personal?
Oh no, sleep is one. Reading, yeah, sleep is very important. Reading is another. And sometimes I have like what I call my little possibility adventure bowl, and I put in it things that I want to do. I just write it on a piece of paper and I put it in this bowl. And so I will take you know, for that month, I'll just pull something out, and whatever it says, I'll plan to do that. Or something comes up that's like I say, oh, I think I'd like to do that. I'll do that. But my favorite place to go is Grounds for Sculpture. It's it's a beautiful. It's like being on vacation in the middle of the city.
Where's that at? Because I've seen the pictures that you were posting.
Yeah, it's in
You can
Trenton.
share it offline if you don't want anybody braiding your spot, no. But
Oh no, it's fine. It's 42 acres. We will not bump into each other, probably not. But it's like it's not just sculptures, but it's also gardens. Like the trees and the foliage and the flowers. Like the grounds are just absolutely beautiful, and then the sculptures are absolutely beautiful. So I go there, and they do Tai Chi classes and meditation classes and art classes, and so it's just a great place to feel like I've been on vacation, and it's not that far. So yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Isn't that just that you have to allot time for yourself?
yes,
Um,
you
yes,
gotta recharge. You have to recharge, and
and that's
all
hard because if you don't want to lose yourself in the midst of that process, I guess, right?
yes,
So
yeah.
let's come to the last one. We're going to take the last bit of our time together. Let's talk about keeping God in the mix. We're going to talk about
Mhm.
that relation. I noticed that you didn't say Jesus. Jesus is the way, realty. So how do you? Let's see. How do you find being a Christian? Are there challenges of being a Christian entrepreneur?
Challenges of being no. That's a blessing. Like God has ordered my steps from the moment. Well, you know that my husband passed in 2012, and I was just getting ready to transition. I had taken the coursework for being a broker, but I hadn't taken the exam. So, you know, it was kind of like he was in my ear saying, "Go ahead and do it." So I took the exam right before, like it was getting ready. That year was getting ready to expire. So right before, so if I didn't pass it, I would have had to do everything all over again.
Over
So
again.
God was with me. I passed the exam, got my paperwork in time. That was the first thing. Going to that conference because I wasn't going to go, and meeting the gentleman who introduced me to the gentleman, and then that whole transition period, you know, um, of being a broker of a franchise, which was really
Mhm.
huge. God was with me. Then the next step, stepping out into um, Lyonsview Realty, God was with me. The space came up for it, and He talked to me 3 times, so about the space because I wasn't going to do it at that space. I was looking for different locations, and God was like, "No, that's the space. That's where you need to be." That like how something just wakes you up out of your sleep. And so I was like, okay, I got to be obedient about this. So God has been with me through the entire thing of the business side. And then just working with my clients, the things that we talk about. Um, just having the background that I have helps me. Like my work is my ministry, really. My work is my ministry. And I don't, I'm not a Bible thumper, I'm not a scripture quoting Christian, and say God said this, and no, I'm not that person. So, but my clients will tell you that they know I'm a Christian.
Right.
They know that you know about my spiritual background, and they'll say it to me, which is interesting because however I'm living my life, it shows itself. So I don't have to say I'm a Christian, or I don't have to say God told me this to tell you. It's like, um, he orders my steps. So my work is my ministry, most definitely. Yeah.
I consider that kind of frustrating at times, and I'll be honest with you because I be trying not to come from the ministry point of view, and I feel like Peter sometimes when I'm speaking, and they're like, "You're a Christian, you're a Christian, you're a Christian." I was like, I wasn't trying to be, I was just being me. But that's what it is. If Christ is in you, it doesn't have to be ye, they, those, or what. Your
Right.
speech, our speech, no matter how much I try to hide it, my speech will betray me. And so it's not a bad thing. It's because God wants you again. We're supposed to be ambassadors in
Yeah.
the marketplace. So our speech is going to tell you exactly what part of the country or the kingdom we're from. So and we have to hide that. So I appreciate you sharing that point that you and your ministry are the same, because I think when people view ministry, they don't think that your ministry, that your work is ministry, but your
Yeah.
ministry is your vocation, and that we're supposed to be walking worthy of the vocation in which we're called. And as
Yeah.
a Christian, I'm a Christian and I'm called to be in the marketplace. That's my vocation, and I'm going to walk worthy of that. And walking worthy of that is being able to present my business in such a way that they can see Christ, and that Christ. You say, hey, you are flourishing in the midst of a pandemic. And I was talking to you this earlier. In the midst of a pandemic, where people are not supposed to be buying houses, people are buying houses even under this pandemic. And I've heard realtors that were in the same field that you're in right now, Chris, because they're realtors, say it's a pandemic. But then I hear you saying it's a pandemic. And God is still providing for you for that. So
Yes.
I like that balance. What would you give how would you give advice to realtors to show Christ and the kingdom in the workplace? What are some hints of how you do it so that you know you can show that balance? Am I asking that right? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Um, I do, but I guess I think if you live your life as an example, that's showing Christ. Like there's nothing special that you have to do. I pray with my clients. I pray over their houses. I when they get a new house, I pray in their space. But that's that's a direct showing of who I am. I ask if it's okay, you know. But yeah, because God is the most powerful. God has blessings for us, and if we ask Him, He will bless us. So if we're asking for a house, or once we get that house, it's a praise moment, right? Because you know through all the things that have to happen in order for it to come about. And I always tell my clients, I said, if it's not this house, that's not the one for you. Whatever God has for you is for you, no matter how many people are bidding on it, no matter how many people are, no matter what else is going on, whatever God has for you is for you, period. And when it's your time, it's your time. You just have to be prepared so that your time meets the moment, right? That they happen at the same time. Elder Elder Dave was talking about, you still have to do, you know,
The work.
appropriate action.
Yes.
But, you know, if you're ready, whatever God has for you is for you. And nobody can take that from you.
And I like that you're not afraid to let those ministry moments come out, and allow God to use you in that way. Because I think sometimes we try to be too intentional, that we feel that we have to be the old school Christian that used to beat people in the head and say, you need to come to Jesus right now. But when they can see your peace in the midst of the situation, they can see the spirit that's on you. It says, well, what must I do to get what you have? That's 2021. How can I get what you have? And that gives the opportunity for the kingdom to shine through you. Well, my last question is about, being partnered as a victorious business professional and being a partner with Victory in Christ Christian Center. So how has being a partner of these two ministries, Victory in Christ Christian Center and the Victorious Business Professionals, how has that impacted your business life?
I think it's increased my ESP. So ESP is my superpower. And
Explain what ESP is for us non-psychic people.
Expertise, solutions, and patience.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my superpower. And I think being a part of Victory has definitely increased my expertise. You know, it's increased my expertise in the Word. It's grown me spiritually as a Christian. You know, it's being a part of the ministry. It's put me in relationship with other business professionals. So, you know, that's increased my expertise because not only do now I know the things that I know the things that other people know and what they're doing and what they're about. Because the ministry is really about growing people in what they're passionate about and what what they've been promoted to do in the kingdom, right? And so, and then problem solving, you know, being able to get to a solution, being able to get from point A to point B, and providing people with information. Like all of that comes out of being, in the ministry itself. And then patience. I've always been a patient person, but I think when you're dealing with folks in and out of the body of Christ, patience is a virtue. You know, everyone is at different places, you know, and you have to deal with people where they are. And sometimes you're holding their hand, you know, and sometimes you're pulling them up, and sometimes you can let go and watch them soar, right? But it's just having the patience through all of the cycles. You know, that's a very important skill to be patient. You know, we say wait on the Lord. You know, just wait on Him. You know, and whatever is supposed to manifest itself will manifest itself. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for the time that you shared with us during the spotlight session, and I know that as they watch this, they're going to be encouraged by your story and encouraged again by your testimony, because your results speak for themselves. So when they start looking at you and seeing the growth and how you help the body of Christ as well as those that are out there who don't know Christ, you're going to see that. I'm not only the interviewer, but I'm also a client. So I know I can speak firsthand of the excellence that you bring and how you blessed our family with the home, not just a house. It was a home that was fitting to our personality and our needs and what we have. So I am appreciative to your ministry and your vocation. I hope that you have, those of you who are watching right now, that you are encouraged to look at this field as a possibility, that if you are interested in being an advocate for people to be able to get the home that they need to be able to house their family and grow their families up, that this is a good ground. This is a good start. Whether you want to be a client or you want to be a broker or you want to be a real estate agent, you have the trifecta right here in Clara Lyons-DeVaughn. So again, if those of you who have not joined Victorious Business Professionals, to be a part of the group or to be accessed, you have to be a member of Victory in Christ Christian Center. But to fellowship with us, you're always open to fellowship with us on those events. If you're not, we'd love to have you come. To be a spotlight, you'd have to be a part of Victoria's Business Professionals and have a spot within our professional brochure that we have that gives the world lets the world know who you are. So we're about to stop down and go into our next networking cafe, which is within the next 15 minutes. That you can catch us on our Zoom on the Facebook page on Victoria's Business Professionals. So again, on behalf of Bishop John and Pastor Aisha Edmondson and the Victoria's Business Professionals, we say goodbye and we'll see you at the next event. Have a blessed day.
Oh, thank you, Chris. That was wonderful. And I think the link to register is VBP Network, bit.ly VBP Network. So we'll put that in the chat.
Okay, the chat is are Salama and them still here?
Yes.
Salama, can you put the that in the chat for us?
Bit.ly VBP Network for those who want to register. And we'll see you at 3 o'clock.